Chris Acker. Well, as always, Coach, we appreciate you joining us here early on this Wednesday morning. What was your takeaway from last night's game?
Well, first of all, thanks, guys, for having me on. The takeaway was that our guys are very, very tough-minded group, and we're going to put ourselves in position to win every single basketball game. And really, at the end of the day, that's all you can ask from a group that's been battling the way they've been battling with the schedule that they've had so far this year.
When you evaluate what happened last night, what's your main takeaway? I understand the battle and the toughness, but is there a greater picture emerging about this basketball team down the home stretch?
We're getting better. We set the tone last night that, we're one of the best, if not the best defensive team in the nation. And, Boise State does a good job defensively of making it tough. And I think we kind of broke through that barrier in the second half and showed that, we can compete on the offensive end against very physical and well-rounded defensive teams as well. So being able to play on both sides of the ball in an environment like that, against a team like that, bodes well for us as we continue to move through the conference race and continue to move through towards the NCAA tournament, hopefully.
It was a tremendous comeback last night, Coach. Obviously, you guys did not shoot the ball well at all in the first half. No threes. Came back in the second half, took the lead late. But unfortunately, the missed free throws by Matt Bradley and then the unfortunate tripping situation with Mensah. Both these guys were such keys in this game just to get you to that point at the end of the game. How do you address a disappointing finish for those guys when they meant so much in being responsible for the comeback in that game?
Well, just what you just said, text Matt Bradley last night and just told him, we're not in that position if it wasn't from him. I mean, he had a really good reverse layup and one basket, bounced up, made a big-time three down the stretch of the game. He was the one that threw it to Chad Baker in the corner to put us up, and then he throws the lob to Nate to put us up again. And so, he got to the free throw line, and he just didn't deliver that last moment. But, again, we're not in that position. If he doesn't throw that lob to Nate, Nate doesn't dunk that basketball, and Nate, played well offensively all night for the most part and, really was a dominant force on the defensive end. So, we just tell those guys, we got to get better and finish games. But, again, we're not in that position if it's not for them. And, we got to prepare for this San Jose State team that's coming into the Viejas on Wednesday.
Admittedly, we have this late dinner and we got the game on. It's muted as we're eating. I got a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, so I'm trying to keep tabs on them, keep tabs on the game at the same time. I'm looking over my shoulder, and I keep looking up, and Boise's at the foul line every time I look at the screen. I mean, look, I'm going to give you the numbers because after the game, I went to the box score to see if it was an accurate feeling I was having, and there were discrepancies. I mean, the fouls were called 24-14 in favor of Boise against you guys. Free throw attempts, they had 26 to your 11. I mean, are there times on a road floor in this conference or just in general because you guys are the Aztecs and that means something, you feel targeted a little bit by the referees?
I wouldn't say we feel targeted. I just feel like, when we get in those environments, we're a tough team to ref. We're playing against a team that, drives the ball extremely hard. They put a lot of pressure on the referees to make calls and decisions. I mean, our true focus is, the fact that we had a chance to win the game at the end of the game. And that's all you can really ask from a team that's playing on a road in the environment that they were just playing in. And so, we got to finish games. We got to be better down the stretch and put ourselves in position early in the game to where we're not even in that situation. We got to get off the faster starts. I mean, we know all of the things we have to do to continue to improve, and that's really what we're going to focus on is what we can do to not be in those situations at the end of the game, putting it in the referee's hands.
Aztecs assistant basketball coach Chris Acker joining us on this Wednesday morning. Coming up, of course, is San Jose on Friday. We need a packed house out of Viejas for that game for sure as we're coming down the stretch. Coach, you've been in this conference for several years now, even prior to San Diego State, so you've got a good feel of the Mountain West Conference. This is as good as it's been. I mean, really. I mean, when I look at, obviously, Wyoming, Boise, Colorado State, they all seem to be comfortably in. I got to believe right now the Aztecs are in. I mean, I'm looking at all these bracketologies. I see everything from right on the bubble to, comfortably in as a 10 seed. Obviously, some big games coming up. But when you look at top to bottom, talk about just where we are right now in terms of the overall strength of the Mountain West Conference.
Well, we're right there at the top. There's some very good teams in this league. We're sitting right there in a position to still accomplish all of our goals. And I think, like you said about packing the house, I mean, I think it's our turn to return the favor on these opponents that are coming in our arena, to have all of our fans, have the show, have everybody there supporting these guys and letting people know what it feels like to play in our environment, to put pressure on the rest of the league because, again, it's right there for the taking. If we can finish conference strong, especially at home, which is the most important thing, is to win our home games, finishing up to put us in position to make a tournament run. We have to have all support and all hands on deck from our fan base. So we're looking forward to having a packed house on Wednesday night to continue to put us in position to accomplish all of these goals that we set forth at the beginning of the season.
I was specifically impressed by Nathan Mensah's performance. I mean, it's great to have a big playing the way he did last night down the stretch of your season, a double-double, 11 bounds, 13 points. What has it been like this season working with Nathan on all these tools? He's a unique athlete. Is this a player you think could really shine if you guys, look, you have an important conference tournament. You potentially will play in March. Is this a guy that you will specifically be leaning on if this season turns into what could be a special season for the team?
No, absolutely. I mean, the one thing you notice about Nate, where he's getting better at, he's starting to understand how important activity is. And that's not necessarily just scoring or getting touches. That's being a guy that's hard to block out. That's being a guy that's hard to score on. That's being a guy that rebounds out of his area, that gives us second chance opportunities. And that's what he's starting to do. And he's starting to understand that that's his value to this particular team. And then when we throw it inside to him, he's starting to make the right play, whether it be passing or scoring. And he's starting to play with a tremendous amount of force. So we're excited about where he's at and where his development has gone. And to be able to throw the ball inside to him and to be able to know that, if a guy drives to the basket, they're going to have a tough time finishing. And if a shot goes up, they're going to have a tough time keeping him off the glass is what's made us, helped us take another jump this season.
I know I sound like a broken record, Coach, on this, but talking about the offensive inconsistencies. I mean, I go back to 2 years ago, the fabulous 30-2 team. And if you looked at that team, and it was very much a starter-dominated team, the box scores were almost identical night in and night out. And usually when you have teams that are really good, that's a common denominator. Offensively, you guys have been all over the map. I mean, defensively, this team is as strong as ever. Guys are getting it done at the defensive end. But the idea that you can't really count on one or two players to deliver the same every single night. How much challenge is that as a coaching staff?
For this group in particular, it just comes down to understanding who we are as a team. It's not challenging because we rely so heavily on our defense. The one area we'd like to continue to improve at is when we rebound the basketball, really get out and run, because we saw what happened in the second half of this Boise State game when we actually did that. We put a lot of pressure on them and we made it a lot easier on ourselves. So for us, it's just about, recognizing who we are as a team every single game. And I think our guys understand how we want to play, in the half court when we can't score the ball out of our offense, how we want to finish possession. And so I think, we have been, inconsistent in the sense of not knowing what guys are going to make what shots. But again, that's a credit to the teams we're playing against, doing a good job scouting us. And then, again, the guys that have stepped up, like Shad Baker at Fresno State, it's credit to them for being ready to play. So, we're in a great position right now, and all we can do is continue to improve and continue to focus on the things we can control. And I think we got a special group that's willing to do whatever it takes to get that done.
Coach, last one from us here. You take me through the psychology of being a basketball coach, especially in this time, in this era, because I didn't play past middle school. And in college football, professionally, every single game matters so much. But in college hoops, I mean, certain games matter more than others. Certain losses are better than others. Is that a part of the conversation? Because I understand a loss hurts, but certain losses, in terms of how they're quantified, hurt you less than others. So does that come up in discussion with the team?
No, for us, I mean, I've been in several different programs now, and, in this program, this is about winning championships. And so every single game is important. Every single team is a potential threat. And so for us, it's about winning every game and getting better from game to game. And I think we start creating separation when we start understanding exactly who we are as a team and what we need to do night in and night out to have success. And so for us, we don't really talk about the metrics, or we don't really talk about, we got to win this game or we got to win that game. We focus really on, this team we're playing against, if we win this game, this could put us closer to winning a conference championship. And so that's what it's always been about. That's what it's always going to be about, is winning championships. And that's what we're going to continue to focus on. And we're not done yet. So again, we need Viejas packed on Wednesday so that we can continue in that direction.
Yeah. And by the way, if you saw the reaction of Boise State when they won that game last night, even on their home court, favored, they knew it. It's big time. We beat San Diego State. Any win over the Aztecs is a big win in this Mountain West Conference. Again, Coach, like you said, let's pack it up Viejas on Friday, taking on San Jose State. As always, Coach, we appreciate it. Send all the best to the team for us.
Absolutely. Sure. Well, thank you guys for having me on, and go Aztecs.
There he is, Chris Acker.